Good afternoon, I'm Kevin O'Ryan and welcome to Limerick Racecourse. Joining me now for a look at the weekend's racing is a jockey who's off to a fine start this season, is Chris Hayes. Chris, a lot of good racing over the weekend. We'll start off in Navan on Saturday, the listed Salsabil Stakes, and you ride Acnea for Paul Deegan.
Yeah, she's a nice filly. She's had a run already this season. She was third in the group race up to Curra. Had a nice run. She's still a maiden going into this, but we're hopeful. She handles the ground quite well, and it's important to get black type for these fillies, and she seems to have improved from her first run. She was also second to one of Aiden's last year in the Airfield Stakes, so her form is rock solid, and we're hoping for a good run.
Steps up and trip as well. You don't think that's going to inconvenience her?
No, I think it'll bring out the best in her, if anything. Paul's horse are in great form. We've had 16 winners nearly, I think, over the winter and kicking into the start of the season, so they're in great shape. As I said, she goes in the ground, so we're hopeful.
And that was a good Group 3 at the Curra the opening day. Vote off and is held in quite high regard by Dermot Weld.
Yeah, but I think she's talks for the guineas for her, so I rode in the race one at Kevin Prendergast Magenta. She's a good yardstick as well. Rode a very good race. For her to get as close as she did to one that's been touted for a guineas is a good run in itself, and there was a high rated one of Dave O'Meara's just 2 lengths in front of her, so it's rock solid form, and I'm looking forward to her.
The other race is, of course, the Ballysacks, a group race later on in the card as well. You're not sure yet what you're going to ride. Paul is 2 at Wolf in the Desert, a maiden winner at Dundalk, and of course Aussie Valentine.
Yeah, 2 lovely horses. They've a bit to find at the ratings, but they've both improved. Aussie Valentine, he's ran on the grass before, and he won his maiden at Dundalk. We were going to go for the Airfield Stakes with him, but Paul decided against it and said he'd just leave him for this year, and I think it's worked because he's come back a far better horse this year. If he runs, he'd definitely have a good shout of running beyond his handicap rating, and he seems to be doing things right at home. Obviously he'd improved from the run. Wolf in the Desert, he won his maiden at Dundalk, but I'd have no concerns at the ground. He's a fine big horse. Trip would be no problem to either of them, and I leave it up to Paul. I'd be happy to ride any of them.
And moving on to Sunday, of course, the Gladness is the feature event at the Curra on Sunday, and Shrewhan, I know he's a horse you like quite a bit. He won the Tetrarchs last year at the Curra and then went on and won the Concord Stakes around Tipperary. Yeah,
won the Tetrarch very impressively, and we just kind of went off the boil then. Maybe he had a harder race than we thought. Paul freshened him up unbelievable. He had a nice run at the Curra behind Gerlines' horse, and then we came on to the Concord Stakes and he bolted up really, really got going late on. He's done well, progressed over the winter, goes on the ground. He's very versatile ground-wise and trip-wise, so his homework is suggesting he's ready to run, and as I said, Paul's horse is in good form, so he won't be running unless he's 100%, but I'm looking forward to him as well.
And Chris, you like your 2-year-olds as well. You've already had a 2-year-old winner. You've won 2 2-year-old races, 2 out of the 3 so far this season. One for your other boss, Kevin Prendergast, on the opening day. But Paul's 2-year-olds are good and forward as well. And you ride a nice 2-year-old for him, Akeed Misk, in the opener on Sunday.
Yeah, nice filly. She's doing things well at home. We have a fair line of form through the horse that won last week, of how she'd run. And she's a filly I like. She's by Asimore, so it'd be nice to get a winner in her over 5, because I think she's a filly that she wants a bit further anyway and will be progressive over further, so things are going good at home. I like her a lot, and hopefully now we can go close if not win it on Sunday.
And Chris, you're off to a great start for the season. Of course, you're stable jockey to Kevin Prendergast, who you've spent all your career with, as well as being stable jockey to Paul Deegan and Andy Oliver as well, so you've got some great yards to ride for.
Yeah, I'm running out of days in the week, to be honest with you, but
it's a good complaint though.
They're 3 top men to ride for. Couldn't be happier. I've been with the boss, Kevin, since I started my apprenticeship with him, and he's been very good to me through thick and thin. Paul is an up-and-coming trainer, as is Andy, and it seems to be working well, and touch wood, it'll keep working well. Things are going good, their horses are well. Andy, we had a sluggish season last year, but he tells me that the 2-year-olds are nice this year. He already had a winner and a nice run here in the maiden earlier on, so they're obviously in good form, and I'm very happy, yeah.
Chris, finally, just going back to look at last year briefly, it was your best season to date in your career, and you recorded your first, followed by your second Group 1 in your career today, and it must have been very special winning at the Matron for Kevin Prendergast La Colina.
La Colina meant a lot. After working the guts of 10 years, as I said, with the boss, to get my first winner for him, and my first year as first jockey to him, it meant a lot, and I'm still getting stick for the emotion I showed that day, but I don't mind. She was a very good filly to me, and to get an opportunity to ride for Mr. Weld a week later in a classic with his record in the St. Leger for Lady O'Reilly, it's fairy tale stuff, and she's gone out to Australia now, that filly, so hopefully she'll keep going well. But two good fillies, and they'll always be close to me anyway.
Going back to Valouz the Cour, could you believe how well she was travelling with you turning into the straight that day?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. From my first time to ride for Mr. Wells, it was so straightforward, the instructions I got, and he knew the filly inside out, because everything he said was copybook stuff, and she travelled utmost ease going into it. You wouldn't travel that well in a handicap, do you know what I mean? And she just bolted up. As soon as I let her go, she quickened up real well. He told me the only thing he was worried about was the ground. The only thing I'm a bit upset about is I didn't get to ride her on soft ground, because she felt like a machine to me on fast ground.
And of course, Chris, looking back finally for this season, what's the targets? Ride as many winners as you can and add to your Group 1 haul?
Well, when you've three bosses, I think my target is to try and keep the three of them happy. No, look, as I said, I'm off to a good start. The boss's horses are in great form. Paul's horses are in good form. Andy's just starting to get going again. So hopefully I can keep sound and suspension free and ride as many as we can. It's going to be hard to top last year with a Group 1, two Group 1s, one of them being a classic, but we'll give it a go.